Hi Jeff, it's Gavin from RC Kicks. Sorry, Mr. Bingham. How's the bank? How's things? How you been? How's the family? Well, just wanted to give you a call. Basically, I've been working on the... Oh, you've seen it. Yeah. Well, I just need a few £100 more and I can push through the fix and flip and then turn a profit. What do you mean I spent too much money already? Yeah, I know, but I'm just trying to get it really good and make it really amazing and a perfect shelf queen. What do you mean I'm being stupid? What do you mean I could have bought a new inbox one for that? Okay, so basically there's no more money. Okay, thanks very much. Ah! Han, can I borrow 20 quid? Hi and welcome to RC Kicks. On today's show, well, we're back working on the fix and flip project, the TA03F, or as it's going to be known now, the Black Hole project.
If there's anything I cannot stand, it's a sore loser.
But we'll come to that in a bit. Let's just go over a few little small details and then we'll dig into how stupid I am. But first, right, first one was the belt. Now the belt was super sloppy after I restored it, didn't really know why. Well, turns out I actually fitted the wrong belt gears. The ones that were on it were smaller, so it was sloppy. Put the old ones back on again and that's fine. Also the tensioner works just as it should do, so that's one good thing. Another one you'll notice is it now has the ultra rare, for some bizarre reason, super expensive for what they are, anti-roll bars front and rear. These are the stiff ones. These come from a lovely guy called Matthew who was kind enough to sell them to me at a reasonable price, being that these little tiny bars are demanding insane money, but they're cool. Also, I put a little bit of blue bling on them with the little ball joints, and we've got some little blue wheel nuts. I've also cleaned up the electronic speed controller and it's looking lovely, spiffing. We still have a few other bits to go on that have arrived. The front bulkhead section, that's got to go on. Also, I've decided I'm going to put a front one-way diff in it. I've had this for ages, so I thought, hey, I'll put that in it. And I have another upright that goes on the front because there's a tiny little split, so I'll replace that as well. So what else has happened since the last video? Well, if you remember back, the plan was to put a slightly older Evo body on the car that I picked up from L&L Models. That'll be this one. Well, it turns out after cutting it out, I screwed up the holes and I completely messed up the front wheels. The whole body is sitting too far forward, I think it was, and then I tried to open the holes up a little bit and I completely screwed it up. So that went completely out the window. So, being the smart, genius, suave guy that I am, I had a master plan, and that was this. Well, I went back and I looked through all the kits that came out with the TA03F chassis, and there's quite a few, luckily. So I tried to look and find a body A that I liked, B that I could actually get from Tamiya. And I found one, and it was the Subaru Impreza. Now this has just come out on a TT02 chassis, so I could pick up this one from Tamiya, and it is exactly the same one that was done on the TA03F way back. So that's one thing. So I've got a body that should be on this car, and it's from Tamiya, and it also is a car that I've never done on the show, so we're on to a bit of a winner. But there was other problems, and the problems are this. The TT02 is a Monte Carlo spec decal sheet, and the one that should be on the TA03 is not. So that means I had to get decals, 2 sets of decals, and that I have as well. So I have the original decals that should come with the car, but as you can see, the Subaru ones, these aren't the correct ones, but they have all the lights and there's lots of bits and pieces I can use from this decal sheet for the car to keep the quality up. Then I also picked up from MCI which from L&L, because L&L Models also supplies MCI decals, and he just happened to have this sheet. Now these are the correct decals for the TA03F Subaru Impreza. So the plan is I will mix these two together, use as many of these as I can, and only the ones that are different I will use the MCI ones. So that should give me what looks like a correct TA03F Subaru Impreza. Also there's another sheet as well. So, but there's also another problem. If you look, the TT02 Subaru Impreza has different gold wheels. So these wheels aren't going to work. They're close. Now these are 5-spoke wheels, and the ones on the Subaru Impreza that I'm trying to copy has 6. Damn it! But there's been a bit of luck again. It's like the RC gods have all lined up. The wheels that I need for my Impreza just so happen to be exactly the same wheels that have released on this. These are the correct wheels that I need for this car, for this chassis to be period correct. And it just so happens that this was released not that long ago, so I've picked up a set of gold wheels. I'm going to paint them just like I did on these ones because they look so much better when they're painted, but they are the gold plastic and they are the correct wheels that should have been on this car with that body. So do you know what this means? I am a complete genius and also completely stupid because I've spent an absolute fortune on top of what I spent before. I just need to take a moment. We will cover the prices, but at the end. Right, now, what are we going to do? Well, we need to cut out the body and get this lined up. Oh, that also reminds me, there's something else. Oh, it just gets worse and worse. The body posts on this car are for the Evo body. The Subaru Impreza body has its holes up higher, which means these are also wrong now. I need to have straight ones like this, which would have come with the TA03F chassis. So I had to buy another parts tree. And I may have also bought another parts tree as well. Price is coming up at the end, and yes, I think it will show just how smart I've been. Right, let's crack on, cut the body out, and then we've got to mask it up and paint it. I did happen to have the paint as well, so yeah, that's another good thing. I do have the correct paint for today. So we should be able to bang this out of the park and call it done. Well, until the gold wheels arrive. Oh, I plan this stuff so well, don't I? So there you go, in a blink of an eye for you, but for many hours for me. But I'm really happy with it. It came out really nicely. It's a beautiful metallic colour. I've tinted the windows this morning and I'm really happy with it. It all went exactly to plan. Got a few little tips for you. One, definitely, I'm trying to keep my finger marks off it. One, definitely paint up the spoiler as well in the same paint. It works really well. I was going to clear it, but it gives me enough shine where I don't think it needs it, so it's fine. It did when I did it on the Mercedes-Benz 190, I went over and I cleared it a few times, but it seems to hold its sort of speckle and it blends in quite nicely from that point of view. Another tip for you when you're doing this specific body, be careful around here. It gets a little bit soft round the back, and that's because when it's put in the mold, it's actually stretched all the way around. So be careful around here. It's easy to break it. What else can I tell you? Well, a little tip for doing the windows. I'm getting really happy with my results. What I find works really well, if you're going to tint your windows, the first thing is don't treat it like normal paint. It's not. It's very, very fine. Now, there's a few little gotchas you've got to be careful of, so I'll explain how I do it, and it seems to work well for me. So what I do is I get the tin, I hold it by the wheel arch, I spray once across these windows. Then I turn the body and I start spraying from here. I spray across 1, 2, 3 or 4 passes, starting here, stopping over here. Then I turn around, do 1 pass on this one. Then I do 2, 3 or 4 passes, depending on the size of the window, at the back. Now I hold about this sort of distance. You've got to move fast. It's not like spray paint where you go a lot slower. You've got to move. If you start spraying over the window, you will see it. It's all about consistency and moving because you want a consistent coverage. Another thing is don't go too far back because you'll get speckling in it. If you hold it too close, you will flood it. So you've got to be really careful. If you look, I don't know if it shows up, but you can see in the middle where it's black, it's got like a hazy bit. That's where I start and that's where I finish because you don't want this over the windows. Now this has got 3 coats, 3 to 4 coats is usually enough. From that point of view, don't ever stop and don't go heavy. This very light. You're better off putting down a super light coat, waiting, another super light coat. It looks like almost nothing, but this is 3. But then when you go back 15 minutes later to do your next coat, it darkens down a little bit. So that's the key to doing good smoked windows and getting consistency. Another little tip that I find, when you finish painting and everything, before it dries hard, you obviously want to remove the window masks because you don't want to leave it to dry rock hard because you can peel off a little bit of the paint. Take the window mask off and then straight away go in and do the smoked windows. Why? Because you don't want any contaminants, finger marks. You want as little dust as possible. So peel them off, get your tin of paint, smoke, go in and smoke them straight away, and then do that 3 or 4 times depending on how dark you want it. And then you're done. And that will give you lovely smoked windows with no blemishes, no streaking, and a very consistent layer. What's next? Right, well, we've got to do the decals, and yet again, in my true amazing format, I've got the wrong decals. These are the wrong ones. I didn't even really look that carefully. I thought you just cut these out and then you put them on. But there should be a lot more of them. So I'm gonna have to order from MCI the correct decals again. So I can actually do the proper decals like the windows, the window masks and all that kind of, the window surrounds and lights and bits and stuff. So I can turn it into what looks like a normal car today. But hopefully I'll have to come back again when I get the right decals. I didn't say I was clever. Anyway, I'm still waiting for the gold wheels to arrive, and then there's a few little hop-up upgrades I'm thinking about putting on the chassis, because obviously if you spend enough money you might as well just do it properly. So yeah, this black hole of financial ruin is coming along nicely. Right, let's carry on, get the decals on. So the labour of love continues. The black hole, should I say. There we go. That's all the decals I've got that I can fit now that are period correct. And obviously I've got the other decals coming that I can put on the car to then finish off the body. As you can see, it's getting closer, but there's still quite a bit of work to do. Right, now for the fun bit. How much more money have I spent on this thing? Right, so the decals that I got that were wrong were £19.99. They're the 555 ones. I'm obviously going to have to order more and order the correct ones this time. The TT02 body that you see here now, which is off of kit 58631, the decals and the body, the decals that you see now and the body were £35. The gold wheels are on their way, they were £19.99. I then saw a C parts tree in grey and I couldn't help myself. So that was £24.50. Hasn't arrived yet, and that will replace a few other parts on the chassis to brand new. Yeah, why? It doesn't really need it, but just to really push it up into being minty fresh and a shelf queen. I thought, hey, what the hell? I've spent a fortune, you might as well just go all in. Then there was the L parts tree, which was £7.85, which is the correct body mounts. Currently, it's just resting on the back here. I don't have the back one, so that was £7.85. Not too much of a problem. So that brings me to an extra £107.33. So that takes this car, as it stands now, to £330.01. Well, don't forget that I bought those two anti-roll bars. They were £13. Matthew was kind enough to give them to me for £13. They were easily worth £25, if not more. So that's another £13. So I'm currently, you're looking at £343.34, and I haven't finished yet. But I will end up with a beautiful, original chassis, original electronics, correct body from Tamiya. 95% of the decals will be from Tamiya, and it will be minty fresh in lovely condition. Could you get a new inbox one for that? If you can find it, probably. Maybe a built one. You could get a pro chassis, but condition is everything these days, so I don't know. But no one, I don't think, is going to pay me that kind of money for it, so it will go into the collection. And should you do this? Well, obviously not, but I think you should, at least once. Why? Well, it's very easy to just throw money at a kit, buy it new in box, build it, or just sit staring at the box. Restoring cars is much harder, it takes a lot more time, and it's more expensive, but you end up with something that you restored yourself and you put effort into it, and yeah, you end up being much more connected to the car, me personally. So the first fix and flip didn't go quite as easy as I thought. Hopefully the next one will do. Anyway, thanks very much. Please like and subscribe, and if you would like to support the show, because God, we need it when we spend this kind of money, head over to Patreon, and there's loads of behind the scenes content I post every day, and you also help this stupidity continue. See you soon. Bye bye.